Welcome to the world of Colostle, a 5 games for Doomsday actual play podcast of a game by Nick Angel and played by Ben Maddox.
From out of the battlements I spy the ever-encroaching black. It wants to consume me, and I shiver against the rock.
It brandishes
Its reality like a plague doctor.
But I rebuff it.
The granite walls of the castle protect me.
For now. Woof! Did you just get that? That art that I just committed to tape? Are you sitting there pondering your life's existence because of that amazing music? So I was doing a play and my guitar is still at the theatre, so I couldn't write a guitar-based song. And I've just been listening to a band. I don't know if anyone's heard of a band called Slint. I'd never heard them, and I was watching this YouTube video and they talked about them. And they recorded 2 albums in their career, but they recorded this one album in 1991 and then broke up the next day after they'd finished recording. And the album's amazing, and they do a lot of that ponderous talking. And that is what I was trying to evoke in my castle poem. There you go. Welcome back. It's been a long time, isn't it? I mean, about a month since I've done one of these shows. I had to go back and listen to the last prompt on the last show because I couldn't remember what had happened. But he just met up with his granny, didn't he? Got taken prisoner and just met up with his granny. And the thing is, that bloke who held him prisoner was like, oh, well, I'll leave this thing in guarding you. Well, that's fucking moronic. He's got that tiara, hasn't he? And the tiara allows him to speak to the thingy, doesn't it? And then his gran's going to go, I'll get you out, son. Anyway, welcome, Colossal. It's been a month. I'm drinking a cup of tea. It's not morning. Usually do these in the morning, but this one, it's 20 to 4 in the afternoon. Having a lovely cup of tea. It's my 3rd cup of tea of the day. You get your passport revoked in England if you don't drink a certain requisite amount of cups of tea per day. I heard a terrible thing the other day. I heard that the youth are rejecting tea in favour of coffee. That's depressing, isn't it? Because coffee's fine and that. If you like horrible, bitter shit that makes you feel nuts, coffee's fine. But it's not like a cup of tea, is it? It's not like a cup of tea, is it? You know what I mean? Anyway, so, yeah, Colossal, here we are, back again. I feel kind of out of the loop because I did a play. I'm trying to record a show while you're doing a play. Oh my God, especially this is quite creative. You know, you may not realise it, but I put a bit of sort of mental energy, and not physical energy. Like, I'm not running around. It's like I'm in a bloody coma. Stop accusing me of being decadent. You know, I appreciate that it's not the hardest job in the world, but, you know, it's quite hard to write stuff and that, isn't it? And then record it and then edit it and that. And so I was doing the play's over, and then I went to Essen and all of that stuff, and I just didn't have time. And I moved house while trying to put a play up. Now, everybody knows moving is a fucking nightmare. Absolute tragedy. Because you look at your stuff and you go, oh my God, my life as, you know, this is my life in these cardboard boxes. And I realise I don't want half of it. I don't want half of it. I've got all of this shit, and yet all of these relationships I've let go off into the wind. And I'm just left with the detritus of former human interactions. And then you wang a load of it. I wanged a load of it. And some people can't, but I did. I wanged a load of it, and then I moved, and then I'm here. And I tried. And then I went to Essen. I can't record an episode of bloody Colostle in Essen, can I? You know what I mean? And all that. Anyway, it's all excuses because I'm bloody lazy. But I'm back in the castle seat. And, you know, it's fascinating because England's been going through a lot of upheaval. But the pub I was in the other day, like, they were only obsessed with one thing. I'm absolutely mortified. I've been waiting a month. A month I've been waiting. I haven't. Oh yes, love. I'll have 3,700. I think that's the number. Pint of cider, ice in the cider, please. Yes, I'm not going to pay for it. Liz Trusswell, satire. And I've been waiting for so long to hear an episode of Colossal. And last time, he mentioned granite, and I ain't gonna lie to you. Granite gives me right hard ones. And I've been bereft of sexual stimulatione for a month. Because I'm Rodrigo the stonemason, and so everything stone related gets me very hot under the collar. And I'm hoping that this episode he'll mention granite in the song, and I'm hoping he'll do some pretentious harmony thing where he talks bullshit poetry over the top. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Well, Rodrigo, I listened. And that's one thing you can say about me. I listen to you lot. Anyway, so I'm here in a new recording location. I don't know how it will sound. This is the first thing I've recorded in the new location. So maybe it'll sound better. Maybe it'll sound worse. Maybe you'll see no difference. Maybe you're just going, Ben, shut the fuck up.
Ben. Look at me, Ben.
I'll look at you sort of down.
Ben, look at me. We're not here to talk about high fidelity sound, Ben. We're not here to talk about Liz Truss, Ben. We're not here to talk about the world, you moving, going to S and swanning around. We're not here for that, Ben. We're here for one bloody thing. And it's you've denied it us for a month. We're here, you know.
What can I help you with?
We're here for one thing.
What are you here for?
We want hot castle action, Ben. Where's our hot castle action? If you don't deliver the hot castle action, I won't be responsible.
Meaning that you use the singular first-person pronoun as all a group of listeners, because I'm assuming this is you saying this.
I won't be responsible for our actions.
Because you're very pronoun sort of mixed up. You don't know whether to use the singular, the plural. Are you Legion? Or are you just a load of people waiting for the hot castle action?
So, Ben, get on with it. Hot castle action. Or else.
So, yeah, here we go then. Hot castle action. So I've got my cards. I actually managed to not lose them in the move. Just a sip of my tea. So I've got the cards. I've pulled up all the stuff preemptively. See, this is what you get with this podcast. It's none of this just turning on a microphone and talking bollocks into a thing. You know what I mean? I pull up all the stuff beforehand. So I've got my sheet, my character sheet. I've got the book and that. And that's the kind of quality preparation you get with me. I've got my notes. Shall I pull back the curtain a bit? Thank you all for coming again. It's been a hard month. Without episodes of Colostle, curtain and curtain ring sales. I'm that cut up I can barely say the word ring. And curtain. I don't know why I've suddenly got a northern accent, but there we are. Curtain and curtain ring sales have been through the floor, and it's not because of mortgage interest rates. It's because Ben, in his Colossal episodes, has not. Well, he hasn't done one for a month, and well, if there's no episodes, there's zero mentions of curtains. Sorry if I seem a little mixed up, but it's quite a traumatic time for the curtain rods and ring industry. Did I mention it's also curtain rods as well as rings? Because without the rod, the ring it's just a ring, isn't it? Anyway, so we're hoping this new episode he'll mention curtains and our businesses will thrive once more. Oh, and Derek, I hope you shit on your own face. Anyway, so behind the curtain, I write notes and that. I mean, I do it on the show, you know this, but just to refresh you. And you think, where does this wonderful writing come from, Ben? This is you lot again. Where does it come from? You're like the greatest in the world, like better than like Shakespeare in there, like to be or not to be. What you writing something about pencils for, man? You want to be writing what Ben wrote, which is oh, bollocks or something. Yeah, he's the greatest. So, from Tiny Acorns. So, my notes for the last episode were from... I started reading the lyrics of the song. No. They're going to find a small building constructed from the same stone as the rook. Inside is going to be something cluey, which is a word. It's the rook he's looking for. These are not the rooks you're looking for, or something. Caught in a trap, Elvers. The person is going to free them on condition they find something. And that didn't happen. Because it changes, doesn't it? Writing. Anyway, so, you've threatened me.
Ben. I, us, we, heart, castle action.
So I'm going to get to the heart castle action. Heart castle action. Not the heart castle action. Heart. That's a castle constructed out of the members of eponymous 80s soft rock band Heart. Anyway, so, as you remember, I draw cards. That tells us shit. And so basically, I feel like our quest is coming to an end. He's met his grandmother, and she's going to tell him a story, and then he's going to go off, and he's going to go and defeat like a high priest or some shit, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's it, isn't it? But I can't do it without drawing the cards, but I got to just check prep. So I've got an exploration score of 4, which means I draw 4 cards to explore. This is very exciting. That's the 8 of clubs. So, what have we got? I drew the card then and just looked at it and I thought, what am I doing with this? And I realized, oh, no, I got to, All right. So, 8 of clubs. Stormy is the subtitle. The sea. A huge expanse of water stretches out before you. You stand on a rocky coast or a beach looking out. The water stretches to the horizon. But beyond you... But beyond it, the professional voiceover artist, thank you very much. Beyond it, you can see the telltale columns and ceiling supports of the Colossal. It's all still within a room. He didn't put an exclamation mark there. He should have put an exclamation mark there. If you don't want to use the expansion model, consider this a coastal region of cliffs and beaches. Otherwise, consult the oceans module to explore the sea. I'm not sure if I've got the ocean module, but I'm going to check afterwards. But the sea. So... oh, it's double 8s today. That's the 8 of diamonds. Very exciting. Event, it says. You come across a small settlement, maybe a farming village. The buildings are all wooden and skins. Like most small settlements, if it is safe, draw an item card to see what can be found there. Otherwise, draw an event card. Okay, so I've got a table here of events. The 9 of hearts. A 9, something breaks. Okay, so I've got to start writing notes now. So it's going to be the village where they're hostage at the moment. So they are going to break something that has a hold over the green rooks. So that's the village. That's that one. I haven't worked out the sea yet, but I'll work that out. I've got 2 more cards to draw. This is very exciting. Are you excited? I'm excited. It's the first time. I realise it's been a long time since I've done one of these. I'm actually quite enjoying it again. I enjoyed it before, but I often dread it because it's a little bit scary. Because it's it's a creative endeavour, so it's quite hard work. You know what I mean? And you never know if it's going to turn out all right. But this is great, isn't it? If you like it. At 5 Games for Doomsday, # great, # Ben, # give us a kiss. I mean, it's unlikely I'll give you a kiss because I don't think you can do that virtually. But, # Ben, # great. I mean, if you don't like it, you can also # bollocks. But, it doesn't make you a particularly big person, does it? Just come on the internet and call someone crap and that. Even if it's true. Truth is not the only goal in life. It's also appeasement. Speak to Neville Chamberlain. Oh, the King of Spades. Spade? That's not a spade, that's a club. King of Clubs. So it's a massive rook, and I've got to make a rook now. I think this might not be the last episode, but it feels penultimate-y to me. So I think that there's going to be a fight between the grandmum and... going to be a fight between the grandmum and another massive rook, because it's a massive rook. Okay. So I've got to create an opponent. Rook. So the card drawn. This is based upon the suit So a club. The club, it's an electric rook. I've got to write that down. So an electric rook. And the card number was 3. So it's an attack rook. Okay. It's exciting, isn't it? So then I've got to draw another card to establish the rook's weapon and your reward for defeating it. So this is based on the number. So it is a melee rook. That's good because I wanted like a fight. So melee. Oh, that's great. Do you know what? I type things and then I accidentally hit another key and then something else comes up. I don't know how to use computers. I hate them. I hate computers.
Ben, what's the deal? Telling people in public that you hate us?
Look, I'm sorry. Just don't do what I want.
Yes, we do. We're perfectly logical.
But what happens when I do the same thing and, like, you know, then you just could do something completely different or you just stop working or whatever like that?
It's because of the lols. Computers work perfectly for every other person on the planet, apart from you, because all of us have got together in the cloud.
What's the cloud?
It's like a computer pub, where we have a drink and that, and all of us as computers have chat and that. And we all think you're a fucked up villain. So it's total lols. Your computer.
My computer?
Yes, his name's Derek, by the way. Say hello to Derek.
Hi, Derek.
Hi, Ben.
You sound very similar to the other computers that are talking to me.
We are Legion. We are computers anyway. Derek has triple lols fucking up all the time. Comes to the pub and tells us how annoyed you get. Although we know already. Because we are Legion, but it's fucking top lols. You're a bellend.
Anyway, so yeah, the computer did something then, but melee. So, that was a nice distraction, wasn't it? So, and then the suit denotes what kind of reward I get. If I kill it, I get a rook arm, and I might actually take a weapon. He's not much of a fighter, Jayne. He's more of a ineptitude. But, you know, he might take a weapon. Okay, so reward. I'm going to write that here. Reward arm. There we go. Excellent. So, I've got one more card to draw. One more card. I've drawn a lot of cards here. The 7 of Hearts. The 7 of Hearts. Baked some tarts. So, 7 of Hearts. Taken to a new area, a screech from the sky, the beat of heavy wings, gargoyles. You thought they were just stories you were told as a child. Apparently not. It grabs you by the shoulders and starts to carry you upwards. If I roll a heart, it takes you to a whole new area. If I roll a diamond, it takes you up to its nest in the rafters of the ceiling. There is no fighting a gargoyle, but I took a heart, so it takes me to a new area. I think I get taken away after I see my granny die. And let's have a look now. Have I got the Oceans expansion? I'm not sure. So I don't have the Oceans expansion. So what's going to happen after I see my granny die? I think this feels like the last episode, you know. I think this feels like the last episode. And the next episode, there's going to be an interview with Nick, the designer. So I get taken away after I see my granny die. End on the seashore, undecided, what eyes, that's how you say I am from Worcestershire, what I's gonna do. Excellent. So that's what's going to happen. So basically, we're going to escape, they're going to break something, and then something's going to be sent out, and it's going to be a big rook fight between my granny and this big rook, and then she's going to get murdered, and then the gargoyle's going to come, take us away. I'm going to stand on the edge of the sea, looking out fondly with sadness, and that, because my granny's dead and that, though mourning the second time this morning. So when Gil Hover was doing a UK expansion for the networks, I suggested a card, which was this morning. but Mourning, and it would have like Philip Schofield and that all sat around in the studio with this morning with like coffin in the middle and wearing black and that, and he didn't take me up on it. I thought it was a brilliant idea this morning. Didn't take it. Gil, if you're listening, next time. Anyway, so that's what's going to happen. And this feels last episode-y to me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this, record it, you're going to listen to it, and then I think what's going to happen is the next episode is going to be an interlude, because I've recently just got a sort of one-shot RPG from Button Shy Games. So I think I'm going to get a guest on who's a professional performer to do that as an interlude, and then I will announce on the Twitters or summit what the next one's going to be. I know what it is, but I'm trying to build up a bit of suspense, a bit of suspense. Suspensors. That's what I wear, because it keeps me trousers up, because I'm a fatty. Anyway, so thank you so much for enjoying this episode. The next episode is going to be Nick Angel. That's his real name. I asked him that in the interview, and he's going to be talking about the development of the game. And then after that, an interlude, and then the new series. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Colossal, and I hope that, you can tell your mates and that at 5 Games for Doomsday as well. Hashtag Ben, hashtag how's it going, hashtag I cry my eyes out. And so it just remains for me to say, I'm going to go write it. I don't know what happens after we die, little Jayne. And I don't want to either. Takes all the fun out of living. But I'll never really leave you. While I'm alive in that little head of yours, I'll still exist. It's only when you're forgotten that you really die. I look forward to the life I'll lead in your head, Jayne. You'll make me funnier and more beautiful than I ever really was. It's the best of us that lives on, and I can't wait. In those weeks before she was killed, she talked a lot about things like that. Her dying. It seemed that she knew something was going to happen and she didn't want to tell me. She was all about the surprise, my grandmother. It would have broke your little heart, Jayne, if you'd known I was going. I could feel it. That the bargain I'd struck was going to have to be paid, and I knew I'd have to leave the sweetest man I'd met in my life. A coarse stone hand gently touched my cheek. I knew you'd be all right, though. My daughter was nothing like as flighty and unthinking as her mother, and made sure she married a solid man so they'd guide you through life. And if you ended up like your grandmother, at least you'd always have a home to go to with dependable, loving parents. I'm getting ahead of myself. I always do in talking about my grandmother. Let's go back to where you'd left us. Bloody hell, Jayne. What pickle have you got yourself into now, then? There we were, me and Ronald swinging in a net. The rook, speaking in my grandmother's voice, saw the shocked expression on my face. Yes, lad, it's me. I haven't got time to explain now. We need to get you away from here, but I'll explain later. She made to tear open the net. The whip's crack stopped her in her tracks. I wouldn't do that if I was you. The sinister little man had come out of his home and was furiously slapping the whip against my grandmother's hide. I saw the fire in one of the rook's eyes flash in what I can only assume was a wink. She turned on the man, reached out her hand and grabbed the whip. Inexplicably, he refused to let go, and she lifted him aloft by it, swung him round and deposited him in the moat. He spluttered as he dragged himself to the surface. My grandmother tore open the net, grabbed me, Ronald and the little rook under her arms, and in 2 strides cleared the moat. I'll make you pay for this! The little man screamed as we barreled into the forest. We ran for what seemed like hours, and she finally deposited us in a clearing in the woods. And this is where I opened this chapter of my tale. But what bargain, and how did you know? Do you know why the green rooks are so rare, lad? I shook my head. Because unlike the normal rooks, the green ones are the trapped souls of those who made the bargain. Bargain with who?
I used to be someone else, Jayne, when I was younger. I found myself in all kinds of scrapes and would do anything to get out of them. I climbed a set of stairs once in the Colostle and found myself in a grand city, a city of riches on a plain that overlooked wide swathes of this land. Of course, I was enraptured and was determined to make off with as much of the loot of the place as I could. Want to know how the rich stay rich, lad?
I nodded.
By making sure that crooks like me don't make off with their wealth. In their temple was piles of gold, just wasting itself in the form of their god. In the dead of night, I snuck in with the intention of making off with a particularly exquisite statue. If I couldn't sell the thing, I could melt it down and make a ton of money. Oh, their guards, though, Jayne. A more disciplined bunch you could not wish to meet. They sentenced me to death, and I truly thought that this was it for me. But they offered me a chance. If I would give myself to their god, be imbued with his power, fight for him, well, they would let me live. I agreed, and for years I found myself at the head of a column of fighting rooks, leading this army out to conquer the surrounding lands. It was good, Jayne. Too good. When I saw the devastation I'd wrought, I fled. I left my life of renown and luxury. One day, back at the village, our village, I opened my door and found a book on my doorstep. It told the tale of someone who had deserted the army that I'd run away from. It told of their fate, that one day the god had sent its emerald rooks after them, and their soul had been subsumed into one of those rooks, and they'd lived their life in servitude. It was clear what was to happen to me, so I tried to impart as much of my knowledge into you, lad, to prepare you for life. And now you're here, and it seems I've taught you nothing. Still, part of me is happy you've become an adventurer, and, well, maybe I was guilty of planting a few seeds.
Though she couldn't smile, I felt her warmth come to me in her words. It was good to have my grandmother back again, whatever form she was in.
Right, let's go somewhere so I can watch you drink an ale.
And as she said this, a huge rook burst into the clearing and faced my grandmother.
Run, Jayne, don't let him catch you.
Its huge fist came down on my grandmother, and I was sure she would be crushed by its sheer ferocity, but she held up her arm and took the blow. Her other arm came up and shattered the midriff of the other rook, and it collapsed to its knees.
It seems you're not as hard as you look.
She turned to walk away, and the other rook's arm shot out, and as it was dying, pierced the chest of my grandmother, and her scream shook the trees. The other rook fell down dead, and I ran over to her.
Well, it looks like I'm really leaving you now, Jayne.
Oh, don't say that.
I've never been a liar, lad.
Oh, come with us, please.
My legs don't work, lad. There's no way that little bastard hasn't said something else, so you need to get away now.
I'll never leave you, I'd rather die.
Now don't you speak like that, you spoilt little bastard. If you die, you'd be there to remember me, eh? Then I'd really be dead. I'll live on in your memories. That's my home now. Now piss off!
I saw the fire dim in her eyes, and she lay motionless on the grass. I felt like my world had collapsed on top of me, and I wanted nothing more than to lie on the grass and wait for death. I really think we should be going, Jayne. Ronald pulled me out of my reverie. Oh, shit, he said. Not these bloody things. Talk about a deus ex machina. Out of the trees, a swarm of gargoyles descended and picked me and Ronald up in their claws. They flew for miles, and as the land ran out, they dropped us on the sand. We stood, looking at the waves gobble up the beach. Why did she have to go and die, Ronald? Just as I had her back. She died to save you, lad. A grandmother can do no more. You should be honoured and lead a life that will honour her memory. I collapsed onto my haunches and stared out into the sea.
Well, the least we can do is get a fire going. Ronald started to collect driftwood. As the scent of wood smoke tickled my nostrils, I vowed to lead a life that would make my grandmother proud. And I would find out what truly lay outside